2 more wins. 2 more wins. And the Indiana Fever is headed to the WNBA Finals. Let that sink in for a second. The Indiana Fever only need to win 2 more games, and they will be in the WNBA Finals. And they stole the first of 3 today against the Las Vegas Aces, beating them 89-73. A very convincing win for the Indiana Fever at the Aces in Las Vegas on their home court with their home referees. The Indiana Fever pulled off this victory, and I feel like I'm one of the only people, or at least aside from the mainstream media, who truly thinks that the Indiana Fever can pull this off. Do you remember a couple days ago on ESPN, they were saying like the chances that the teams had to make it to the finals or to win a championship, and it was 5 teams: Lynx, the Aces, Mercury, the Liberty, and the Indiana Fever. And they had the Indiana Fever as the lowest chances of winning the WNBA Finals. They just beat the Aces by 16. And the reason they beat the Aces by 16 is because they held Asia to under 20 points. If you hold Asia to under 20 points in any game, the Aces aren't winning. Because I think that the Aces should rename their team to the Las Vegas Asias. It is the A'ja Wilson show. There was a moment in tonight's game that basically just put on display the biggest weakness with the Las Vegas Aces. So there's a point in time when A'ja got her 4th foul. So she was in foul trouble and she headed to the bench. At this point in time, the Indiana Fever was winning by 3 points against the Aces. By the time A'ja came back into the game, which was just a few minutes later because she had to, the Fever were up by 14 points. They went on an 11-0 run to put them up 14 because A'ja was on the bench. A'ja changes the entire game. And today, A'ja had 16 points, 13 rebounds, but she shot 27% from the field and she had 4 fouls. Now, of the starters, she was still the highest plus minus of the starters at a -5. She is still the one who makes the greatest impact, but it's not a sustainable model for the Aces. They can't win with just one player. Basketball is a team game. On paper, the Indiana Fever have not been better than a lot of teams that they've beaten, but I actually think that they have a better chance at beating the Aces in a 5-game series than they did to beat the Atlanta Dream in a 3-game series. I think the matchups were harder with the Atlanta Dream. And when it comes to the Aces, you just have to make sure that you're not letting A'ja go for 40 every single game and then limiting how hot the other players get if A'ja can't get it going. Now today there was a stretch where Chelsea Gray started to get hot. She made a couple threes, she made a couple jump shots, and then the leading scorer for the Aces today was actually Jackie Young with 19 points. But if you hold A'ja to 20 or below, I guarantee the Fever will win every single game where she has 20 points or less in a game. And I feel like the keys to this series are the Fever playing with pace, the Fever playing defense the way that they've been playing it, making sure that A'ja doesn't get easy looks, but also being cognizant of the fouls. A'ja has a great whistle. We all know this. She has a really great whistle. And Aaliyah Boston is somebody who is prone to getting in foul trouble, but I thought Aaliyah Boston did a great job on A'ja today. And I also thought Bree Turner, once again, Bree Turner to the rescue. Bree Turner did a fantastic job guarding A'ja Wilson. The kind of shots that A'ja was getting were not shots that were right around the rim. They were shots where she was kind of fading away. She was in the paint, and Bree Turner is right there with a hand in her face every single time. Now, Bree Turner isn't as strong or as tall as A'ja Wilson, but if A'ja gets the ball at the high post, it is so easy, not easy, but Bree Turner can guard her from the high post and make it very, very difficult for her. So once again, I want to shout out Bree Turner. Another player I want to shout out in today's game who made a huge impact was Odyssey Sims. There was a couple big plays from Odyssey Sims down the stretch where you could just see her court vision opened up. She was hitting the wide open cutters. She takes care of the ball. Odyssey Sims ended the game today with 17 points, and she was plus 20 on the court. And I will go as far as to say that Odyssey Sims is writing her way into being a protected player for the Fever for next season. I could see her being the perfect backup point guard when Caitlin Clark does come back into the mix. And Odyssey Sims, we talked about it in our last video. She has such a level head and she's not easily rattled. She keeps her composure. She plays good defense. She works within her strengths. She has this little running floater that she does down the middle, and it's so efficient. But at the same time, like, she's not taking wild shots. She's playing within her game. And at the same time, she dictates the flow of the game. She dictates the pace for the Fever, and she's stepped into a leadership role. While you guys, reminder, she was signed in August to the Fever. Odyssey Sims has not been with this team very long, and so to step into this leadership role already and have players around you respect you, to be getting the kind of minutes that she's getting, I have just been so impressed with her, and I think that she's somebody that the Fever might want to core for next season. Of course, we have to talk about Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell, once again, 34 points this game. She was also a plus 20 on the floor. And Kelsey Mitchell is someone else who stays so composed. She stays laser focused. She's also been doing really well on defense, guarding the guards for the Aces, just sitting down, taking care of the ball, hitting big shots when she needs to. There was a couple big threes that Kelsey Mitchell hit in this game, and the Aces couldn't stop her. The Aces couldn't stop her. I actually don't think that the Aces perimeter, honestly, defense or offense is very good, but specifically defense, they just couldn't find an answer for Kelsey. They were sending two on her at different times, but the Fever were running cutters. Kelsey was making her way to the rim. Now, I will say the Aces defense is scary around the rim because you have somebody like Asia who averages over 2 blocks a game, and she's just there waiting and ready to block your shot if you get too close to the rim. But Kelsey Mitchell, I mean, she was just finding her spots, getting to her lanes, hitting those open threes, all of the things. Lexi Hall, again, didn't have a huge scoring game. She had 6 points, but she was the highest plus minus on the court with a plus 24. And Lexi Hall is somebody we've talked about it a million times. She just makes a difference when she's on the court, and she did that once again for the Fever. So hopefully they can get her some more open looks. She can knock down those wide open threes. I think she only shot the ball. Yeah, she only shot the ball 6 times. She only shot 3 threes this game. But overall, the biggest difference between these two teams is one is team basketball. The Indiana Fever play team basketball. They have been through so much adversity. They are the underdogs. They literally have nothing to lose being in this situation. They just play hard. They also started running, by the way. I don't know if you guys saw that in the first half. They started running this new full court defense that we really haven't seen from them, this full court press, and Bree Turner was kind of guarding the inbound. That was cool. I would definitely love to see more of that because another weakness that I feel the Aces have is their ability to get worn out, and also they don't have the greatest ball handlers. I think, unfortunately, you have Chelsea Gray, who is the point guard, and I actually am a fan of Chelsea Gray. I think she is a solid point guard, but I don't think that they have, guards are not their strength. And so pressuring the ball was really getting to a lot of these guards when it comes to Dana Evans, when it comes to Jackie Young. Jewel Lloyd had a couple possessions where she just kind of lost her head and was fouling. So I feel like that's another area. If the Indiana Fever sits down on defense, puts a lot of pressure on these guards, makes it hard for them to even get the ball to Asia, that's really the key. And I feel like this is such a winnable series. And I said from the beginning, you guys can run the tape, you can look at my keys to this series. The Indiana Fever needed one of these 2 games that were in Vegas. So they have a game today, and then they have a game 2, which is on Tuesday, also in Vegas. This series is best of 5. It's 2-2-1. They needed one of these, and they already got one. Now, Tuesday's game, I feel like the Aces are going to come out with so much more fire. Becky Hammon was really upset about this. I'm sure Asia was upset because she was just awarded her MVP award today, and then she did not have the greatest performance, which I do think some of that was a testament to the defense. However, she didn't have her greatest performance. So I definitely see the Aces bouncing back in a sense and coming out with a lot of energy to start game 2. But the Indiana Fever already did the hard part. This was going to be the hardest part of this series, was stealing one of these games in Vegas. Now, can they come back on Tuesday with that tough mindset and come out with the same exact energy that they came out with for this game? And I think if they're able to do that, and if they win game 2, you can just wrap it up because it's going to be very hard for either one of these teams to win 3 games in a row. The Fever, though, they have to come out with the mindset to win and to win big. The Aces are a team that you do not want to be in the last few minutes of the game and have it be a close game and let the refs decide it, especially when you're not playing at home. Becky Hammon has been in these situations before. She knows how to coach down the stretch. So I wouldn't want to get in that battle with them. So I feel like the Fever have to come out. They have to want to punch them in the face immediately, just like they did today. And that was one thing that started to worry me just the slightest bit in the fourth quarter. I felt like there was a time where they were up by 16 and they lost the lead. It went down to like maybe 10 or something, but it felt like the Fever were playing to not lose instead of playing to win and to win big. And I just want to see that mentality from them. But anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a quick reaction on this game. I wouldn't even say surprised. I'm really happy that the Fever won. I'm not surprised because I feel like they can really get this series. There's a couple glaring weaknesses with this Aces team, and the Fever have just proven that they're so resilient. They play as a team. If one person isn't scoring, another person steps up. Like even in this game, Natasha Howard had a really big first half, but then she didn't really play much in the second half. And it's like Shea Petty had some really big moments. Aerial Powers hasn't played well in the past 2 games, but we've known that there's big games where Aerial Powers also went off. So it's really like with this Indiana Fever team, anybody at any given time can step up. Kelsey Mitchell, as much as it's amazing that she's putting up, it seems like 30 a game, she doesn't have to do that in order for the Fever to win because they have other players who can step up. Even Aaliyah Boston, like it wasn't her greatest game. I thought she played well on defense, but on offense, Aaliyah Boston only had 6 points. Imagine if Aaliyah Boston had 10 to 15 points, how big of a difference that would make for the Fever. So I'm rambling at this point, but I feel like this is such a winnable series. And to all the media members who thought this was going to be a gentleman's sweep or a gentlewoman's sweep of 4 games, and some people said 5 games, I truly have the Fever winning this series, and I think it's totally doable, and I think it will be wild if they get to the finals. But anyway, for all of you guys who tuned into the live watch party when we watch this game together, I appreciate all of you. It is always so much fun, and if you haven't been in a watch party yet, then make sure that you click that subscribe button, click that little notification bell so you get notified when we are going live to watch the games together. But with that, you guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I told you already to subscribe already, so do all of those things, and I will see you next time. Ooh and ah.